The grand halls of the Intergalactic Technology Exhibition stretched endlessly under crystalline archways, each section showcasing the pinnacle of achievement from different spacefaring civilizations. Holographic displays painted the air with shimmering technological marvels, while anti-gravity platforms carried visitors from one exhibit to another. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at Earth's modest booth, her dress uniform crisp despite the 10 hours she'd spent greeting visitors. She checked her chronometer. 15 minutes remained until the scheduled presentation. Her heart quickened slightly, but her expression remained neutral as she observed the gathering crowd. The Zaxthar delegation approached, their iridescent scales catching the light from nearby displays. Leading them was High Commander Vextal, his neck frills extending in what humans had learned was a gesture of superiority. Behind him, a group of junior scientists whispered among themselves, their translator modules barely containing their amusement. Ah, the Earth representatives. Vextal's translator produced perfect standard Galactic, though his tone carried unmistakable condescension. We are most interested in your presentation this cycle. Chen bowed slightly, exactly the degree protocol required. No more, no less. We're honored by your attention, High Commander. The Zaxthar leader gestured at Earth's display, a hologram showing the progression of human spaceflight. Chemical propulsion, he noted, his neck frills rippling with amusement, and radio wave communication. Quite traditional methods. The junior scientists behind him made no effort to hide their chittering laughter. One of them, bolder than the rest, stepped forward. High Commander, observed their crude atmospheric ships. They still use lifting surfaces, wings, for aerial navigation. Chen maintained her diplomatic smile as the delegation examined Earth's exhibit. Her hands, clasped behind her back, tightened slightly as she watched the chronometer tick down. 10 minutes now. The exhibition hall grew more crowded as other species gathered for the presentations. The Meridian Collective's crystalline representatives floated nearby, their geometric forms refracting light in complex patterns. A group of Vendry engineers, known for their quantum tunneling technology, joined the growing audience. Perhaps, Vextal continued, his translator struggling to convey the full depth of his patronizing tone. We should offer Earth some basic assistance with propulsion technology. It seems unfortunate to watch them struggle with such primitive methods. 7 minutes. A junior Zaxthar scientist activated a holoscreen, displaying footage from Earth's latest space launch. The chemical rockets, the flame and smoke, the slow ascent through the atmosphere, all of it drew more laughter from the gathered delegates. Notice how they still rely on staged rockets, another delegate commented. Their ships literally discard parts of themselves to reach orbit. How inefficient. 5 minutes. Chen stepped onto the presentation platform, her movement drawing attention from the assembled crowd. The Zaxthar delegation moved closer, neck frills extended in anticipation of what they assumed would be an entertaining display of technological backwardness. Distinguished delegates, Chen began, her voice clear and steady. Earth thanks you for your attention today. We've listened carefully to your assessments of our technology over the years. Your candid feedback has been invaluable. 2 minutes. She tapped her wrist computer, and the holographic display behind her shifted. The crude rockets and aircraft disappeared, replaced by a star map of the local sector. Today, we'd like to share something new, something that might change your perspective on human innovation. 1 minute. Vextal's neck frills twitched with curiosity as Chen smiled, not the diplomatic smile from before, but something different, something that made several delegates shift uncomfortably. In fact, she continued, we've already begun sharing it. You just haven't been able to see it. She checked her chronometer one final time. Until now. The lights in the exhibition hall flickered once, and everything changed. 3 years earlier, the asteroid designated DB-2247 appeared unremarkable among the countless other rocks drifting through the Kuiper belt. Its surface, pockmarked and ice-streaked, gave no indication of the facility nestled within its core. Deep Horizon Base had been carved into the asteroid's heart through years of careful excavation, its existence known to fewer than 300 people across the solar system. Dr. James Okonjo stood in the main observation chamber, his dark eyes fixed on the starfield visible through the reinforced viewing ports. Behind him, dozens of holographic displays bathed the room in a soft blue glow, each showing different aspects of their prototype vessel. The RSS Phantom, primary quantum field stabilized, announced Dr. Sarah Wong from her station. Her fingers danced across the haptic interface as she fine-tuned the experimental systems. Gravitational signature masking at 98% efficiency. James nodded, watching as the Phantom hung against the star-speckled backdrop. The ship resembled a manta ray, its swept wings housing the revolutionary stealth systems that had consumed the last 36 months of their lives. As he watched, the vessel's obsidian hull began to shimmer like heat waves rising from hot pavement. Initiating full-spectrum cloak, Lieutenant Marcus Rivera called from the pilot's station. His voice carried the steady calm of someone who had run this simulation countless times before. Beginning in 3, 2, 1. The Phantom didn't vanish suddenly. Instead, it seemed to melt into the background, its edges becoming indistinct before fading away entirely. Even knowing exactly where to look, James couldn't detect any distortion in the starfield where the ship should be. All sensors reading negative contact. Dr. Wong reported, excitement creeping into her professional tone. Thermal signature nullified. Gravitational distortion masked. Quantum wake suppressed. She's officially a ghost. James allowed himself a small smile. Run the full detection suite. Everything we have. Everything we know the Zaxthar have. I want to know if there's even a hint of our presence. The next hour passed in focused silence as the team subjected their invisible ship to every detection method known to humanity and their alien neighbors. Each test came back negative. The Phantom had achieved true invisibility, not just to light, but to every form of detection they could devise. "Sir," called Dr. Lisa Chen from the quantum mechanics station. "You should see this." She brought up a detailed analysis on the main display. The cloak isn't just hiding the ship, it's actively redirecting space-time around it. Any scanning beam or particle literally flows around the vessel as if it wasn't there. James approached the display, studying the complex mathematical models. His grandfather's words echoed in his mind. "In my time, we learned that the best way to fight a superior force was to make them think you weren't there at all." "Begin power consumption analysis," he ordered, turning to address the entire team. "We need to know exactly how long we can maintain this level of stealth in real-world conditions." As his team worked, James returned his gaze to the seemingly empty space where their prototype waited. The Zaxthar and other advanced species had dismissed humanity as technological infants, barely worthy of notice. Their mockery had burned, but it had also provided the perfect cover for Project Silent Echo. Dr. Okonjo, Lieutenant Rivera called out, "We're ready to begin the second phase of testing." James straightened his shoulders, feeling the weight of humanity's future in this moment. "Proceed with the kinetic response tests. Let's see if our ghost can throw a punch without revealing itself." Outside, against the endless black of space, the invisible ship prepared to demonstrate that humanity's greatest technological leap forward wasn't in weapons or propulsion. It was in mastering the art of not being seen until the perfect moment to strike. The Zaxthar Science Academy's central analysis chamber hummed with activity as master researcher Zinra studied the latest batch of anomalous readings. Her iridescent scales shifted from their usual bright azure to a deeper blue, a sign of deep concentration among her species. The holographic displays surrounding her workstation showed dozens of sensor logs, each containing what should have been impossible data. Another trade vessel reports equipment malfunction in the Centauri corridor. Her assistant, junior researcher Kex, announced. His neck frills twitched with annoyance. Third one this cycle. They claimed their sensors showed a complete void in space for approximately 12 seconds. Zinra's inner eyelids flickered as she added the new data to her growing collection of anomalies. Location and timestamp. Sector 7, Quadrant 15. Time index matches peak traffic hours. Kex projected the incident onto the main display. But that's not the strange part. When they ran their system diagnostics, everything checked out perfectly. No hardware failures, no software glitches. The master researcher rose from her station, her tall frame moving gracefully despite her agitation. The past month had brought an increasing number of these glitches, sensor ghosts, unexplained energy readings, and ships reporting brief moments of total sensor blindness. Most of her colleagues dismissed these reports as equipment malfunctions or pilot error, particularly since they often involved vessels from less advanced species. But Zinra saw a pattern. Display all anomalous readings from the past 30 cycles, she commanded. The chamber's AI complied, filling the air with a three-dimensional star map. Red dots indicated each reported incident. Kex's neck frills extended in surprise. That's not random distribution. No, Zinra agreed, her scales shifting to a thoughtful purple. The anomalies are moving, systematically, from the outer trade routes toward our core systems, Kex finished, his voice dropping to a whisper. Zinra manipulated the display, adding timestamps to each incident. The pattern became even clearer. Whatever caused these disturbances was methodically working its way through Zaxthar space, as if mapping their sensor coverage. Access the quantum wake detection grid, she ordered. The display shifted, showing the vast network of sensors that monitored faster than light travel throughout their territory. Show all recorded jumps against reported ship movements. The data streams flowed across the display. Hundreds of legitimate jumps appeared as green lines, each matching a registered vessel. But scattered throughout were brief flickers of nothing. Points where the background quantum noise of space itself seemed to vanish for a fraction of a second. That's impossible, Kex muttered. Even the most advanced cloaking technology leaves a quantum wake. You can hide a ship from sensors, but you can't hide the disturbance it creates in spacetime. Zinra's scales had shifted to the deep crimson of alarm. Unless someone has developed a way to redirect spacetime itself around their vessels, not just bending light or absorbing sensor beams, but making space flow around them as if they didn't exist. But who could? Kex's question was interrupted by a priority alert. Another anomaly, this time from a patrol vessel near the central defense perimeter. The report made both researchers' scales pale. A ship had appeared from empty space directly in their patrol route. Not decloaked, not dropped out of FTL, simply materialized from nothing. More disturbing still, even with the vessel in plain visual sight, not a single sensor could detect its presence. Zinra's inner eyelids flickered rapidly as she processed the implications. Someone had not only developed perfect stealth technology, but had been using it to systematically study Zaxthar space. The only question was, who? As if in answer, the patrol vessel's report concluded with a final detail. The mysterious ship's markings identified it as human in origin. Impossible, Kex whispered. But Zinra, studying the pattern of anomalies with growing unease, wasn't so sure anymore. Perhaps they had all made a terrible mistake in underestimating humanity's capabilities. The Zaxthar science vessel Stellar Seeker drifted at the edge of their defense perimeter, its sensitive instruments prodding the seemingly empty space ahead. Senior researcher Veclear watched the sensor readings with growing frustration. For the past hour, their equipment had detected phantom energy signatures that defied explanation. Another reading announced technician Melixi from the sensor station. Same pattern as before. Complete quantum silence for 0.3 seconds, then normal background radiation resumes. Veclear's neck frills rippled with irritation. As the sector's leading expert in quantum mechanics, these impossible readings challenged everything he understood about spacetime. Position. That's the strange part. Melixi adjusted the holographic display. It's moving. Against the solar wind. Whatever's causing these readings, it's underpowered flight. The bridge crew fell silent. Natural phenomena didn't move against solar wind. Full spectrum scan, Vecler ordered. Every sensor we have. If something's out there, I want to. He never finished the sentence. Directly ahead of their vessel, space itself seemed to ripple like heat waves rising from desert sand. A shape emerged from nothingness, sleek, predatory, and utterly silent. The ship was unlike anything Vecler had ever seen, its obsidian hull drinking in light rather than reflecting it. Sensor reading. Melix's voice cracked with disbelief. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Visual confirmation only. Vecler's scales shifted to pale blue in shock. Their science vessel carried the most advanced sensor suite in the Zaxthar fleet. Yet even with the unknown ship floating less than a kilometer away, clearly visible through the bridge viewport, their instruments insisted that nothing was there. Incoming transmission, the communications officer announced. Text only. The message appeared on their main screen in crisp, standard Galactic. Greetings, Stellar Seeker. RSS Nightshade requesting permission to approach and demonstrate some interesting technological principles. Captain Lextan, who had remained silent until now, stepped forward. Respond. Ask them to identify their species of origin. The answer came immediately. Human Space Force, Captain Elena Santos commanding. The bridge erupted in confused chittering. Humans, the primitive species that still used chemical rockets and radio waves. Before they could respond, the Nightshade vanished again, only to reappear on their port side, then their starboard, then directly above. Each transition smooth and instantaneous, without any trace of conventional movement. Impossible, Vecler whispered. Their stealth technology isn't just hiding their ship. His voice trailed off as the implications hit him. It's bending space-time itself. They're not becoming invisible. They're making space itself flow around them as if they don't exist. The Nightshade reappeared at its original position, and a new message displayed. Correct, Senior Researcher Vecler. Would you like a closer demonstration? The human ship began to change. Sections of its hull became transparent, revealing internal components that defied known physics. Energy patterns rippled across its surface in complex, mesmerizing waves. They're showing us how it works, Vecler realized, his scientific curiosity overriding his shock. Look at those field generators. They're creating a quantum bubble that makes our most advanced stealth systems look like a child's attempt at hiding. Captain Lexton finished. His neck frills had pulled tight against his skull, a sign of deep distress among their species. A final message appeared. We've been observing your recent scientific investigations into the anomalies, Senior Researcher Vecler. Your analysis was impressively thorough. Our compliments to your research team. Perhaps now we can discuss a more formal technological exchange. Vecler looked through the viewport at the ship that shouldn't exist, built by a species his people had dismissed as primitives, and understood that the galaxy had just changed forever. The Intergalactic Council's emergency session chamber buzzed with tension as representatives from 37 spacefaring civilizations gathered. The recent revelations about human technological capabilities had sent shockwaves through the galactic community. High Commander Vextal sat rigidly in the Zaxthar section, his scales shifting between colors of anger and concern. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the central podium, her expression composed as she activated the chamber's holographic systems. Above the assembled delegates, a three-dimensional map of known space materialized, focusing on Zaxthar territory. For the past 3 years, Chen began, her voice carrying clearly through the vast chamber. Human Space Force vessels have been conducting what we call Operation Ghost Wake. Today, we'll share just a small fraction of what we've learned. The map illuminated with hundreds of points of light, each representing a human stealth ship's documented position. The Zaxthar delegation's neck frills contracted in collective shock as they realized the extent of human penetration into their supposedly secure space. Impossible. A Meridian collective representative chimed, their crystalline form vibrating with disbelief. Our quantum detection arrays would have. Chen raised a hand. With respect, they didn't. None of them did. She gestured, and the hologram shifted to show detailed scans of various defense systems. Our ships mapped every sensor network, defense grid, and early warning system in known space. Not because we planned aggression, but to prove a point about assumptions and technological arrogance. The chamber erupted in overlapping voices and translator signals. A Vendry diplomat rose, their tentacles writhing with agitation. You claimed to seek peace, yet you violated every territorial boundary in known space. We violated nothing, Chen corrected firmly. Our ships never interfered with any vessel or installation. We simply observed, something that every species in this chamber has attempted to do to Earth, though with far less success. She touched another control, and the hologram showed footage from the RSS Nightshade's encounter with the Stellar Seeker. This technology represents humanity's approach to innovation. While others focused on building bigger sensors, we learned to become truly invisible. While you developed stronger shields, we perfected the art of not being there at all. High Commander Vextel stood, his scales now a deep purple of diplomatic caution. The Zaxthar Imperium demands to know how many stealth ships humanity has deployed. Chen's slight smile carried echoes of countless diplomatic meetings where humans had been dismissed and underestimated. Commander, that's the beauty of true stealth technology. You'll never know. Even now, there could be human ships in this very chamber, and none of your sensors would detect them. The assembled delegates glanced nervously at the space around them, suddenly aware of the possibility that they weren't alone. But our purpose isn't to threaten, Chen continued, her tone softening. It's to establish a new understanding. Humanity doesn't seek dominance. We seek equality and mutual respect. She activated one final hologram, technical specifications for a simplified version of human stealth technology. As a gesture of good faith, we're prepared to share certain aspects of our stealth systems with peaceful species, those who demonstrate a commitment to cooperation rather than competition. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't just achieved technological parity with the galaxy's most advanced civilizations, they'd surpassed them in ways no one had thought possible. And now they were offering to share that knowledge, but only with those who met their ethical standards. The galaxy is changing, Chen concluded. The era of dismissing primitive species is over. We invite you all to join us in building something better. A community of equals, where innovation serves progress rather than pride. As the delegates began their heated discussions, Chen noticed High Commander Vextel watching her with an unreadable expression. His scales had shifted to a color she'd never seen before, one that the xenobiologists would later identify as respect. The emergency council session had stretched into its fourth hour when Admiral Chen requested the floor once again. The chamber's elegant architecture, designed to accommodate beings from dozens of worlds, had never felt more charged with tension. Delegates from across the galaxy shifted nervously in their environmental bubbles and gravity-adjusted seats. Distinguished representatives, Chen began, standing at the central podium. There seems to be some skepticism about the extent of our capabilities. Perhaps a demonstration would help clarify matters. High Commander Vextel's scales flickered with concern. The Zaxthar Imperium objects. Unauthorized weapons demonstrations in the council chamber are forbidden by. No weapons, Chen interrupted smoothly. Just truth. Captain Santos, if you would. The space above the council chamber's center suddenly rippled like disturbed water. The RSS Nightshade materialized, its obsidian hull seeming to drink in the chamber's light. Before the delegates could recover from their shock, another distortion appeared to port, revealing the RSS Phantom. Then another to starboard, the RSS Spectre. Two more ships shimmered into view, the RSS Shadow and RSS Eclipse, completing a perfect five-point formation. These vessels, Chen continued into the stunned silence, have been present for every council session in the past year. They've witnessed every debate, every vote, every private discussion in these chambers, and not one of your sensor systems detected them. The Meridian Collective's crystalline representative vibrated in distress. Our quantum detection grid has been recording only what we wanted it to record, Chen finished. Dr. Okonjo, would you care to explain? A holographic projection appeared beside Chen, showing the lead scientist from Project Silent Echo. The principle is elegantly simple, he began. Instead of trying to hide from detection systems, we'd redirect spacetime itself. Any scanning beam or particle literally flows around our ships as if that region of space were empty. He gestured, and technical diagrams appeared in the air. Your quantum detection grid isn't malfunctioning. It's working perfectly. It's just that, from the perspective of spacetime itself, our ships don't exist in the conventional sense when the stealth system is engaged. The 5 ships above began a synchronized dance, moving through complex patterns without making a sound or triggering a single sensor alert. Their hulls shifted between visibility and perfect invisibility, demonstrating complete control over their stealth systems. We could have placed these ships in any location, Chen continued. Any military installation, any research facility, any shipyard. Instead, we chose to observe, to understand, to learn who would be worthy of sharing this technology with. A Vendry diplomat raised their tentacles. You speak of sharing, yet you infiltrated our most secure facilities. Did we? Chen smiled. Or did we simply prove that the concept of secure facilities needs to be reconsidered? She touched a control, and the 5 ships vanished again, this time remaining invisible. The galaxy is changing. The question is, will you change with it? The council chamber erupted in overlapping discussions, translation devices struggling to keep up with the multiple simultaneous conversations. Through it all, Chen stood calmly at the podium, occasionally glancing at seemingly empty patches of air where her ships waited. High Commander Vextal approached the human section, his scales now showing the deep blue of diplomatic engagement. You've made your point admirably, Admiral. The Zaxthar Imperium would be interested in discussing technological cooperation. Of course, Chen replied. Though I should mention, there are currently 3 more stealth ships in this chamber that haven't revealed themselves. Consider it a reminder that transparency works both ways. As the Council struggled to process this new reality, the invisible ships maintained their silent vigil. Humanity had demonstrated not just technological superiority, but strategic mastery. They hadn't just caught up with the galaxy's advanced species, they had quietly surpassed them all. The Zaxthar High Command Strategic Chamber lay deep within their fortress world of Kronax Prime. Holographic displays bathed the room's ornate walls in shifting patterns of light as the Empire's highest-ranking military leaders reviewed the situation. High Commander Vextal stood at the center, his scales cycling through shades of deep concern. The human stealth technology changes everything, General Rixdar stated, manipulating a display showing the RSS Nightshade specifications. Our best analysts still can't determine how they achieved such perfect sensor invisibility. Supreme Commander Zaxvol, the eldest of their species' military leadership, raised a gnarled hand. Perhaps more concerning is what their ships discovered during their observations. His ancient scales shifted to a deep purple of worry. Show the security footage. The holographic display changed, showing corridors and chambers throughout their most secure installations. At first, nothing seemed amiss, until subtle distortions in the air became apparent. Shimming waves of light, barely noticeable unless you knew to look for them, moved through their most classified areas. Human observers, Vextal confirmed, walking freely through our highest security zones. They left these recordings deliberately, along with this. He held up a small medallion bearing Earth's insignia. It was found on my personal desk this morning. The assembled leaders chittered in alarm. Their most sophisticated security systems, their most advanced sensor nets, had failed to detect these human infiltrators. We could mobilize the fleet, suggested Admiral Kexthen, her neck frills extending aggressively. Show these humans that stealth alone doesn't win wars. And fight what? Vextal challenged. An enemy we can't detect. Ships we can't target. For all we know, there could be human stealth vessels in orbit around Cronax Prime right now, watching this very meeting. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Their mighty empire, built on technological superiority, had been thoroughly infiltrated by a species they'd dismissed as primitive. A junior analyst rushed into the chamber, scales pale with excitement. "Commanders, we've completed the analysis of our quantum detection grid's historical data." "Report," Zaxvol ordered. "Sir, we found gaps, moments of perfect quantum silence throughout our territory. They've been increasing exponentially over the past 3 years." The analyst projected a new display. "Based on the pattern, we estimate that human stealth ships have mapped approximately 87% of our military installations." Vextal's scales shifted to the pale blue of resignation. They could have attacked at any time. Could attack now. Yet instead, they offered technological cooperation. A trap, perhaps. Rick Starr suggested. "No," Zaxvol's ancient voice carried the weight of centuries of experience. "A test. They're watching how we respond, whether we choose aggression or adaptation." He turned his penetrating gaze to the assembled leaders. They've demonstrated not just technological superiority, but strategic wisdom. They didn't use their advantage to conquer. They used it to understand. The display shifted again, showing Admiral Chen's presentation to the council. Her words echoed through the chamber. "We seek equality and mutual respect. The galaxy is changing," Vextal quoted. "And we must change with it." He straightened, his scales settling into the deep blue of decision. "I propose we accept their offer of technological exchange, not because we're forced to, but because they've proven themselves worthy of respect." Supreme Commander Zaxvol nodded slowly. "Agreed. Contact the human delegation. Inform them that the Zaxthar Imperium is prepared to begin a new chapter of cooperative development." As the leaders dispersed, Vextal remained, staring at the Earth medallion in his hand. Somewhere, perhaps in this very room, human observers might be watching, evaluating their response. For the first time in his long career, he found himself hoping they approved. 1 year later, the grand halls of the Intergalactic Technology Exhibition sparkled with a different energy. Where once there had been mockery and condescension, now there was genuine collaboration. Humans worked alongside aliens at various displays, sharing innovations and building upon each other's discoveries. Admiral Sarah Chen stood beside High Commander Vextal at the central presentation area, watching as Dr. James Okonjo demonstrated a simplified version of human stealth technology to an eager audience of multi-species scientists. The Zaxthar leader's scales shimmered with the deep blue of satisfaction. "Remarkable how much can change in a single planetary rotation," Vextal observed, using the formal diplomatic tone that had become standard in human Zaxthar interactions. "Our joint research teams have made more progress in the past year than our separate civilizations managed in decades." Chen nodded, watching as a young Zaxthar scientist successfully activated a small stealth field generator. "The best innovations come from combining different perspectives. Your quantum mechanics expertise has already helped us improve the efficiency of our systems by 30%. Above them, invisible to all sensors but known to be present, the RSS Nightshade maintained its vigilant patrol. The ship had become something of a legend, the vessel that changed the galaxy's balance of power without firing a single shot. "Tell me, Admiral," Vextal's voice dropped to a more personal tone, "how many of your ships are actually watching us right now?" Chen's slight smile carried echoes of their first dramatic revelation. "That's still classified, Commander, though I will say the number might surprise you, in either direction." Their conversation was interrupted by excited chittering from the crowd. Dr. Okonjo's demonstration had reached its climax, the successful integration of Zaxthar quantum field technology with human stealth systems. The resulting stealth field was more stable and energy efficient than either species had achieved alone. "The Meridian Collective's delegation arrives tomorrow," Chen noted, watching the demonstration. Their crystalline computing technology could push our joint research even further. And the Vendre the day after, Vextal added. They're particularly interested in applying stealth principles to their quantum tunneling technology. A junior human officer approached, tablet in hand. Admiral, the latest deep space survey results from our joint exploration fleet. Chen reviewed the data with interest. The combined technology of multiple species had opened up new possibilities for exploration. Stealth ships equipped with advanced sensors could now safely study phenomena that would have destroyed conventional vessels. We've confirmed 2 new potentially habitable worlds, she told Vextal. And the anomaly in Sector 7 looks promising for a stable wormhole. The Zaxthar commander's scales shifted to a thoughtful purple. A year ago, we would have raced to claim such discoveries. Now we prepare joint colonization projects. Progress, Chen agreed. She paused, then added, though we still maintain independent stealth patrols. Trust builds slowly. As it should. Vextal's neck frills rippled with amusement. We do the same, with what little stealth capability you've shared with us. The galaxy is more stable when powers check each other openly. The exhibition hall filled with more visitors as the day progressed. Species that had once competed now shared knowledge, each bringing their unique perspectives to solve common challenges. Humanity's revelation of their stealth technology had done more than shift the balance of power. It had demonstrated the benefits of cooperation over competition. Another vessel reports unusual sensor readings in the Carina sector, Vextal noted casually. Would you happen to know anything about that? Chen's expression remained diplomatically neutral. The galaxy is full of mysteries, Commander, though perhaps fewer than there used to be. Above them, unseen and undetected, the RSS Nightshade continued its eternal watch, a silent guardian of humanity's newfound respect in a galaxy that had learned an invaluable lesson about underestimating primitive species.